Matthew Goode might just be the most effortlessly intriguing actor you've seen on screen without realizing it. Whether he's playing a brooding vampire, a manipulative genius, or a romantic lead with an edge, there's something quietly magnetic about him. He doesn't court headlines or dominate blockbusters, but somehow, he always leaves an impression. And once you start digging into his life behind the scenes, it gets even more fascinating. Here are some surprising, funny, and downright delightful facts about Matthew Goode that will change how you see him and make you wonder why he's not talked about more.
This is my DNA.
He was once a head chorister. Before Hollywood scripts and red carpets, Matthew Goode was a choir boy. Not just any choir boy, he was head chorister at his prep school. But he wasn't just into music. He was also a serious athlete, playing rugby, cricket, and golf. For a time, acting wasn't even on the radar. He was too busy being sporty and normal and thoroughly British. Eventually, the stage called him back, helped along by his mother, who directed amateur theater and roped him into productions. Still, his early life wasn't filled with starry-eyed dreams of Oscar speeches. It was more like, sure, I'll try the school play between cricket matches. He studied drama just to make his parents happy, but ended up finding his purpose. Matthew Goode didn't charge into acting school with a dramatic monologue and a dream. In fact, his initial decision to study drama at the University of Birmingham was to please his parents. But it turned out to be the thing that changed everything. After university, he trained at the Webber Douglas Academy of Dramatic Art in London. By the time he hit the screen in 2002 with Confessions of an Ugly Stepsister, something had clicked. This wasn't just a compromise degree anymore, it was his calling. And that slow burn origin story actually explains a lot about his down-to-earth persona. He once pretended Steven Spielberg offered him a role just to quit a horrible telemarketing job. Before the awards and period dramas, Matthew Goode had one of those soul-crushing jobs we all fear, cold calling strangers to sell stuff they didn't want. And one day, he just had enough. So what did he do? He told his boss that Steven Spielberg had offered him a role. Yes, that's Steven Spielberg. His co-workers congratulated him. He left the job, and then realized, oops, he didn't even have bus fare to get home. So he walked. The fake story worked though, and thankfully, a real acting job wasn't far behind. He once got spray-tanned in his underwear next to Colin Firth. When Matthew Goode signed on to A Single Man, he had no idea his first bonding moment with Colin Firth would involve standing in his underwear, getting spray-tanned like a couple of bronzed mannequins. They were both Englishmen playing Californians, which apparently meant they needed to look sun-kissed. The moment was as awkward as you'd expect, but also the beginning of a wonderful on-screen chemistry. Goode later joked that the martinis they were offered afterward were the only thing that saved them from full-on embarrassment. He's a wine enthusiast who co-hosted a travel show just to drink around the world. Some actors launched tequila brands. Matthew Goode hosted the wine show, and he didn't just do it for a paycheck, he did it because he genuinely loves wine. Teaming up with fellow actor Matthew Rhys, Goode traveled the globe sipping vintages, chatting with vineyard owners, and diving deep into enology. He called it a pleasure, not a job, and it gave fans a chance to see his laid-back, charming self outside of a script. Imagine James Bond hosting a cozy PBS travel doc. That's the vibe. He didn't read the books for Department Q on purpose. In the series Department Q, Matthew Goode plays DCI Carl Mork, a grumpy detective with a past. Normally, actors dive into source material to prep for a role. Not Goode. At the advice of director Scott Frank, he didn't read the original novels. Instead, they collaborated to build a fresh backstory for the character, separate from the books. Goode found it very freeing and said it allowed him to shape Carl Mork from scratch without being boxed in by fan expectations. Bold move? Definitely. But it's classic Goode. He trusts the creative process over formulas. He built on-screen chemistry by inviting co-stars to dinner just to rehearse lines. Want to know Matthew Goode's secret for making TV ensembles click? Dinner. During filming for Department Q, he invited co-star Alexei Manvilov, who plays Akram, out for what was supposed to be a quick rehearsal. They ended up spending the entire day together. Lunch turned into dinner, lines were run, trust was built. This isn't just a nice gesture, it's his strategy. Goode believes real-life camaraderie makes for better acting. He once said, "If you've got respect and friendship in real life, magic happens on screen." He turned down the glitz of Hollywood to focus on family and doesn't regret it. You don't see Matthew Goode plastered across tabloids or doing reality shows. That's not by accident. He lives in Surrey with his wife, Sophie Dymoke, and their 3 children, far away from the buzz of LA. He's called himself a bit of a shut-in and says he prefers being home with his kids over attending celebrity parties. Even his red carpet appearances are rare. He only shows up for the big stuff, like BAFTAs or premieres. In an industry that often demands constant visibility, Goode has quietly chosen balance, and he's thriving. He doesn't flash his philanthropy, but it speaks volumes. Matthew Goode isn't one to shout about good deeds, but he definitely does them. He's behind the Matthew Goode Foundation, Grants for Good, which helps fund small charities and social projects making a real difference. In 2023, he even donated costumes from A Discovery of Witches to a charity auction supporting youth mental health and LGBTQ+ causes. And for something truly unexpected, he narrated the audiobook for Alexei Navalny's posthumous memoir, Patriot. He may keep his personal life private, but his impact is anything but invisible. The surprisingly wholesome way he spends his free time. When Matthew Goode isn't acting, he leans hard into a lifestyle that feels straight out of a charming countryside drama. Think fly fishing while the kids are at school, listening to test match cricket on the radio, and working on his golf game. He's aiming to get back to a 4 handicap, by the way. His wife has recently taken up horse riding again, so their weekends are basically equestrian goals. And when all else fails, he's binging Netflix like the rest of us. It's cozy, grounded, and very good. And there you have it, Matthew Goode in all his quietly brilliant, wonderfully weird glory. He may not chase the spotlight, but every time he shows up, on screen or off, he brings a level of charm, wit, and depth that's impossible to ignore. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell us in the comments, which Matthew Goode role is your all-time favorite?